In this quiet moment, let's slow down and reflect on God's Word before we come together in prayer. By the end of the day, hope often feels quieter than we expect. Not gone, just softer. You may still believe deeply. You may still trust what you've always trusted. Yet something inside you feels muted, as if hope has been resting all day under the weight of everything you carried. It's a strange place to be, to have faith but not feel strong, to believe yet still feel unsure, to know what you stand on and still feel unsteady. Nothing dramatic needs to have happened. Hope can grow tired simply from being patient too long. You might notice how you've learned to keep moving forward without expecting much. How you've adjusted to disappointment by lowering your voice inside. How you still show up, still do what's needed, but with fewer expectations than before. This doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you've been holding on quietly. There's a tenderness in that kind of faith, a hope that doesn't shout or demand, but waits, still present, still breathing. Tonight doesn't ask you to stir it up or force clarity. There's no need to explain it away. Just notice it. The quiet hope that remains, even when you're unsure how it will speak again. And let that be enough space for what comes next. Hope often returns more quietly than we expect. Not as certainty, not as excitement, but as something steady enough to lean on when the questions remain unanswered. At the end of the day, faith doesn't always feel strong. Sometimes it feels more like staying, like not walking away, even when clarity hasn't arrived, like trusting God without needing to feel confident about tomorrow. That kind of faith can feel thin, but it is not weak. It is faith that has learned how to endure without applause. There is a moment in Lamentations, written from deep loss, where hope is not denied, but gently recovered. The writer says, "For no one is cast off by the Lord forever. Though he brings grief, he will show compassion. So great is his unfailing love." This isn't a declaration made from victory. It's spoken from within sorrow. Hope here doesn't cancel pain. It sits beside it. The words acknowledge grief without trying to resolve it quickly. They don't promise immediate relief. They simply remind the heart that God's relationship with his people does not end when life grows heavy. Forever is taken off the table. Suffering is given a boundary. That is where hope begins, not in escape, but in limitation. Pain may stay for a season, but it is not permanent. Grief may speak loudly, but it does not define the ending. Faith holds on to that truth even when emotions lag behind, even when the heart hasn't caught up to what it believes. Hope is born in that space, between what you know to be true and what you have not yet seen fulfilled. Later, Jesus speaks to his followers in John, knowing they will soon feel disoriented, afraid, and uncertain. He doesn't overwhelm them with explanation. He simply says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives." This peace isn't transactional. It doesn't depend on improvement. It isn't earned by optimism or effort. The world offers hope that rises and falls with circumstances. But Jesus offers something that settles deeper than circumstance. This peace doesn't remove the unknown. It rests with you inside it. Hope grows when the heart realizes it does not have to be constantly alert to be safe. when it learns that God's presence does not retreat just because answers are delayed. You don't need to understand what's ahead to receive this peace. You only need to stop bracing yourself for disappointment long enough to let it meet you. Hope often returns when the soul finally exhales. Paul speaks to this patient posture of faith in Romans when he reflects on waiting itself. He writes, "For in this hope we were saved, but hope that is seen is no hope at all." Hope, by nature, lives in the unseen. It exists where evidence is incomplete. If everything were visible, hope wouldn't be necessary. If every prayer were already answered, faith would not need to wait. This kind of hope teaches the heart how to remain steady without control. It shifts trust away from outcomes and back toward God Himself. Waiting becomes less about delay and more about relationship, about trusting who God is even when what He's doing is unclear. You may not feel encouraged tonight, but you may still be faithful, and that matters. Hope does not accuse you for feeling tired. It does not shame you for feeling unsure. It simply invites you to remain open. There is a strength hidden in that openness. Isaiah speaks into this gentle endurance when he writes, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." Notice the order. Hope comes before renewal. Trust comes before strength. You are not asked to feel energized before you hope. You are invited to hope so that renewal can come in its time. This promise does not rush you forward. It allows strength to return gradually, naturally, without force. Sometimes renewal looks like relief. Sometimes it looks like resilience. Sometimes it looks like simply making it through the day without losing heart. Hope does not demand that you rise immediately. It promises that rising will come. Faith often looks unimpressive at the end of a long day. It may not feel victorious. It may feel quiet, cautious, restrained. But this is not a lesser faith. It is faith that has learned patience. Faith that has learned to trust without spectacle. Faith that has survived unanswered prayers and still stayed close. Hope lives there, not loud, not fragile, but steady. God is not discouraged by your questions. He is not threatened by your weariness. He is not distant because your hope feels quieter than it used to. The same God who sustained you before remains with you now, not waiting for you to feel strong again, not waiting for perfect confidence, just present. Hope does not require certainty. It only requires that you remain connected. And tonight, that connection is enough. Your faith, even in its quiet form, is still faith. Your hope, even in its gentlest expression, is still hope. And God is still faithful. Lord God, as this day finally settles into stillness, I come before you without pretending to be stronger than I feel. I come without rehearsed confidence, without answers neatly arranged. I come simply because I still believe you are here. You know how faith has carried me today, quietly, steadily, sometimes without emotion. You know how hope has stayed present even when it felt restrained, cautious, careful not to expect too much. You see the places in me that still trust you, even though they no longer shout with certainty. Tonight, I bring you that kind of faith. Not loud, not dramatic, but real. Your word reminds me, in the book of Hebrews, let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. So I hold on, Lord, not because I feel unwavering, but because you are. Not because my confidence is strong, but because your character is. When my thoughts circle back to uncertainty, you remain steady. When my emotions hesitate, you do not withdraw. When my hope feels thin, you do not treat it as fragile. Teach me how to hold hope without gripping it too tightly. Teach me how to trust you without demanding immediate clarity. Teach me how to remain faithful even when the waiting stretches longer than expected. Tonight, I release the weight of trying to predict what tomorrow will bring. I release the burden of replaying conversations, decisions, and moments I wish I could change. I release the silent fear that waiting means you are distant. You are not distant. You are not delayed. You are not uncertain. You are faithful. And so I choose to place my trust not in my ability to understand what's happening, but in your unchanging nature. Not in how quickly things resolve, but in how consistently you remain. Your word whispers again in Psalm 33. May your unfailing love rest upon us, Lord, even as we put our hope in you. Let your unfailing love rest on me tonight, not as something earned, not as something measured by performance, but as something freely given. Let it rest on the parts of my heart that are tired of being patient. Let it rest on the hopes I've learned to protect because disappointment once felt heavy. Let it rest on the quiet questions I don't always know how to voice. I give you the hopes I've learned to keep small, the prayers I've softened because I was afraid of expecting too much, the desires I've carried quietly because I didn't want to feel let down again. Hold them for me, Lord. Not to awaken anxiety, but to restore trust. Not to rush fulfillment, but to protect hope from fading. You know the difference between reckless expectation and faithful hope. You know the difference between impatience and longing. You know my heart better than I do. So tonight, I stop evaluating the strength of my faith. I stop measuring my hope against outcomes. I stop judging myself for not feeling more confident. Instead, I rest in you. Your word speaks again gently in 1 Peter. Set your hope fully on the grace to be given you when Jesus Christ is revealed. So I set my hope not on perfect circumstances, not on immediate answers, not on life becoming predictable, but on your grace. Grace that meets me exactly where I am. Grace that carries me when hope feels restrained. Grace that does not run out while I wait. I trust that you are working beyond what I can see. I trust that you are shaping good even in hidden places. I trust that nothing surrendered to you is wasted. Tonight, I choose hope without pressure, hope without urgency, hope that rests rather than strives. I don't force optimism. I don't demand reassurance. I simply place my faith back into your hands. Stay close to me as I rest. Guard my heart from discouragement that creeps in during quiet moments. Quiet the thoughts that try to convince me that waiting means nothing is happening. Let my sleep be held by the truth that you are still God, still good, still faithful. I place this night before you. I place my unanswered prayers before you. I place my hope, quiet, steady, and sincere, into your care, and I trust that you will hold it safely until morning. Lord, as this prayer continues, I feel my heart slowly opening in your presence, not in urgency, not in desperation, but in a quiet willingness to release what I have been holding so tightly. I have carried hope carefully. I have guarded it, protected it, measured it. Tonight I let it rest in you. Your word comes to me again, gently, from the book of Romans. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. So I allow you to fill what I cannot generate on my own. I allow you to place peace where tension has lived. I allow you to place joy where expectation has grown tired. Not joy that ignores reality, not peace that denies uncertainty, but the kind that settles the heart even when answers remain unseen. God of hope, meet me here, not at the version of me that feels confident, but at the version of me that is honest. Fill the places where hope has grown thin. Fill the pauses where prayers have lingered unfinished. Fill the silence that sometimes follows faith. I no longer try to sustain myself through waiting. I let you sustain me. I release the need to see progress before trusting you. I release the fear that if I stop striving, hope will disappear. I release the quiet anxiety that tomorrow must prove something. Hope does not disappear when I rest. It deepens. You remind me of this again in the book of Isaiah, where you say, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." So I steady my mind, not by force, not by control, but by trust. When my thoughts wander toward worry, I gently bring them back to you. When my heart rehearses what might go wrong, I place it again in your care. When fear tries to speak louder than faith, I remember who you are. You are constant when life is uncertain. You are present when clarity is absent. You are faithful when outcomes are unknown. I don't need to solve tomorrow tonight. I don't need to carry answers into my sleep. I don't need to prove my faith by staying alert. You keep watch. You remain awake. You guard what I place in your hands. So I loosen my grip. I soften my expectations. I allow hope to rest without fear of being disappointed. Your word speaks again, quietly, from Psalm 62. Truly my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from him. Let my soul find that rest now, not as something earned, but as something received. Rest from trying to understand everything. Rest from carrying what belongs to you. Rest from measuring faith by feelings. I let my breathing slow. I let my thoughts grow gentle. I let my heart settle into trust. If answers come later, I will receive them then. If clarity unfolds slowly, I will walk with you through it. If hope grows quietly instead of boldly, I will honor that too. Because hope does not need to be loud to be real. Faith does not need to feel strong to be true. I trust you with what I cannot see. I trust you with what I cannot change. I trust you with the future that still feels undefined. And as this prayer softens, I feel no need to add more words. No need to ask for more reassurance. No need to hold myself upright. I rest. I rest my thoughts in you. I rest my fears in you. I rest my hope, steady, quiet, and alive, in you. Let this night be wrapped in your peace. Let my sleep be guarded by your faithfulness. Let hope remain, not striving, not anxious, but safely held. And I trust that when morning comes, you will still be who you are. As you prepare to rest, take a moment to carry this quiet hope with you, not as something you have to protect, but as something already held by God. You don't need to resolve everything tonight. You don't need to know what tomorrow will bring. Faith has done its work simply by staying present. If this prayer met you where you are, let it continue with you into the night. Let hope remain gentle. Let trust stay unforced. Let rest come naturally. If you feel led, share this prayer with someone who may need hope that doesn't pressure them to be strong. Sometimes faith grows best when it's shared softly. And as you close your eyes, remember this: God is faithful. He is near. And the hope you placed in Him tonight is safe. Rest well, knowing you are not alone.